Le fruit de cela, c'est donc les liens 4 à 7, nom et forme, ayatana, 6 ayatana, contact et sensation, puis
contact and cessation, as well as birth and aging and death. If we study this presentation in this way, as it's found in the Sutra of Dependent Arising and in Asanga's presentation, the 12 links take on their full meaning. If we follow the presentation of the sutras, after consciousness, what appears next based on consciousness is name and form. But in truth, Asanga's presentation is easier to understand. According to Asanga, after consciousness, based on consciousness, appears craving.
Sepa don lemba ni ko bacha de la sute ni sute sin ha ko son sepa don lemba ni ko bacha de la chen she ni tene bacha de ya mong de kala tene bacha de hyu chen bu cha de kala tene ndiu ji si yong gu yores.
Thus, based on ignorance, unfolds the link of conditioning phenomena. Acts are accumulated, accomplished and accumulated. These actions sow seeds, imprints, habitual tendencies within the mind stream. Later on, when favorable conditions, such as craving and grasping, are encountered, then the fruit of these actions will be able to manifest. Actions will be able to ripen and become manifest, to yield their result.
Pena hinkachi hinka tintana samen tera samen te tsadi samen tela chotong le sen hakugdo chodo le manche pikala samen re te inayon chodo le manche na nyuk ndiushi mares jetsan na hiktila le pacha yana yon tene chen de chodo le nongi sepa de lemba ni de tiko la manche na tene le ti kan ndiushi thage mares pena ta konda hinka te nahin pe yaro pena nahi te hinka no yires le sa le pacha te ko hinka no la samen chindo de no yires ta samen te hycher ton ya la chen kar gugdu chod le gugdo jetson sepa de lemba ni te chod le no yires sene ni mbot.
To give a simple example to make this easier to understand, it's like a field where seed is planted. In order for this seed to grow, in fact, just planting a seed in this soil isn't sufficient for it to ripen. It needs to be watered. It needs nutrients, things to nurture it, nourish it. The same is true here. In the field of consciousness, so the field can be considered like consciousness. The seeds are imprints, habitual tendencies, actions that have been accumulated. And in order for these actions to yield to their fruit, they need to encounter favorable circumstances, similar to fertilizer, water, etc. And these favorable circumstances we can consider links 8 and 9 to be these circumstances, craving and grasping. The seed may be present, the act may be present as an imprint, but so long as it doesn't encounter favorable circumstances for ripening, in order to manifest, it will not yield its fruit.
Tene samen hinkala te jen chadole mantre pikas samen tetong. Dik jen chadole le nimbote samen tretsa pikas samen nimbote nepa cheshun cheban rogdo. Tene jen chadole samen tele tretsa ta samen tika ne dik tikeji jimala nyakshia ango tsugdo. Nyakshia shetugdo. Ta ti nongi sheni. Na hiktinla lech pacha yayare te samyo nongi re. Tani jen senle nimbo tika tela sute ondu. Tani tange nanghi tinu yawa je lech pacha te shuchen rosa res. Shuchenbo. Shuchenbo nropi kala minkare tagre esne sipasi. Tende yana chini noni sipasim jia te tagre es. Konda nanghi tinu yawa je le pacha snare le te jen senen sepa ni mantre pikala ndaje kali yana nimba ndaje kali jen senen nimbo te tretsa bik jila teni sipas la gyres le sipas la gyres. Ndaje kali oh tedi kala khunni pashiro yamare shuchim ta chen te tretsa du ani le te peta ndiu she chochunda chagyres teni sipas de le pet ne pa chembo chawande sipas la gyres.
Et donc, on voit que
we see that actions, conditioning phenomena, are accomplished, are accumulated, and these actions have varying strengths in terms of those that encounter favorable circumstances, with the example of water and nutrients. So long as these actions have not encountered favorable circumstances in order to yield their fruit, these favorable circumstances being craving and grasping, links 8 and 9, they will remain in the state of seeds. They won't have a very strong force or power, so long as these favorable circumstances have not been encountered. When these favorable circumstances are encountered, craving and grasping water the acts. They give them strength, power. The imprints become stronger, and this is what links to what creates the 10th link, becoming. When the 10th link, becoming, unfolds, then actions take on greater strength.
Sene nimbote sepa ton lemba do te nimbote konda lite la sute sigdo sute dan danda kare se onde kala namhite la le ne pa hucher ton sepa la sepa de lemba gures te indikalta sepa de lemba ninka lite hucher kandi tongre se onde tangozo
Donc nous avons dit que les conditions
We said that imprints, conditioning phenomena, are stored in the consciousness. In order for these imprints to become powerful, in order for acts to be able to yield their result, what is necessary is encountering the favorable circumstances of craving and grasping. Now we'll explain how these favorable circumstances are encountered. How does this unfold?
Shewa penje kli jishin nyawa na penje jishin na tandro li ten penje jishin na mi li ten penje jishin na hlai li ten penje ka li mombo nga zu jala yore es ta ti mombo tata tsendi nga zu tata tsendi ka li ten de la shewa mombo penje ka li mombo yore es ta ti li mombo no ni sepa de lemba ni ka tombo gong la suite sin ha ko da 공 누파 휴첨보 시그랬다. 리 몸보는 리 가레 누파 휴첨보 땅으로에서 온데깔라. 더니 맞어 절로 여가지 리 몸보는 리또 체쇼들. 리라 또 체쇼여레스. 가정이 휴인바 리라 싸온데깔라 또 체쇼로 그랬어. 리또 체야텔라. 니 로바시네 수ite 그랬을라 그랬어. 휴체르 땅으로에서. li nga tsa ma sa ra li te la shu che shun yores to che shun che tsal ta sene ni khus ma ka su te on de kala tombo kare te gres na li to che shu te la su te gres.
Donc
these links, craving and grasping, when conditioning phenomena are watered by craving and grasping, they take on greater strength. We said that actions stored in the consciousness have greater or lesser strength, power. The fact that they have more power comes from being watered, as it were, by craving and grasping. The more power or strength that an action has, the stronger the imprint is, the more quickly it will encounter these favorable circumstances. If we take it the other way, craving and grasping will primarily connect with actions that are predominant, that have greater strength.
So lila gamba gancha sna hakoda gancha kare chembo shindna dilitela sepa de lemba ni su te gres.
Et donc
what we are most in the habit of doing, actions that we're most in the habit of reproducing, are those that will primarily be watered or nourished by craving and grasping. Also, we currently possess many acts, which we spoke of earlier, projecting acts, many acts that will lead to us acquiring a subsequent existence, human existence, a divine existence. This potential, these imprints are present in great numbers for each of us. At present, we have a human existence. Nevertheless, we currently possess many imprints that contain the potential to be born in many other existences among humans, gods, and other places, etc. Those that ripen are those that we are most habituated to, the ones that we accomplish most regularly.
Tato cheshun jipachi, gancha cheshun jipachi na, teni sene ni ka tombo gongla sui tegre se ondikala, teni tombo gong sada. li tombo li sia chura de nga no ni tombo kare shindu na li di li te la su te gres la gres to cheshun jipa cha gamcha cheshun jipa cha na ta sene ni ko pena shewa penje linga no ni chomara tuji de te mara gamcha cheshun jipa cha linga bot oh li te la kandi teni jipa cha sone na ta linga ndo sene ni linga no kona sala karela ni su te gres ya ndi li tombo kare sa na te la
Et donc, admettons.
Consider that we have 5 actions with the same strength and that we have the same habit of accomplishing. Among these 5 actions, which will yield its fruit first? Which will be the most watered by craving and grasping will be the action that was committed first.
Ta lila sene nimbo su tegre sende su tebi tuse gara. Tuse gati tegre se ta nga so chaka lamo. Chaka mi kaps su tegre se lagres. Oi.
Ensuite, c'est
then, in terms of timing, actions accomplished just before death are very powerful as well. Actions accomplished just before death will be watered in priority, will take priority in terms of being nurtured by craving and grasping. When we are cultivating a field, there's a particular time that we water the field, a particular time that we plow the field and water the field. The moment of death is a particular moment in time that is particularly propitious for watering actions with craving and grasping. What happens is that at the moment of death, just before we die, our mind will naturally think of certain things more than others. We will naturally orient our minds in a certain way. And based on these actions, these conditioning phenomena, the links of craving and grasping will come and connect and thus add power to these actions.
Wanda manya di mola nga tauna ni se on de kala mola to cheshu de la tambo hako gres nogu mola de tons la sa te kores di no ye she ni li nga sa na li to cheshu de la chuto shebe ka sa li to cheshu de la sa sa na tambo te ko gres.
C'est un peu le même
This functioning is similar to waking up. We wake up And we can imagine that we had 5 dreams while we were sleeping. First, we will remember the most powerful dream. The idea here is the same. The strongest, most powerful action will be predominant.
가스 가서 챈디라 베나 나저 그 센첸 세비가 리토 쳔보 베나 냐와노는 편제 손다 오면은 여달 편제 던도는 편제 손다 지시아 편제 손다 레 센첸 세비가 리다 지 싸여나 다 챈데는 가로 타마 혀그라 히로시그라 혀는 혀카마라 아니 라상 디 센첸 세비가 상한테 뭐 코요르스 센체 세이에 상한테 뭐 코그레스 근데 땡코인데 땡 센체 세비가 레갈라 때 쳐바시 그랬어 쳐바
Par exemple, si durant
For example, if over the course of our life we have killed sentient beings and in doing so we have cultivated the causes for rebirth in the lower realms, the hell realms among the animals, etc. At the moment of our death, our mind, in a way, it is as though we will think of these actions of killing again, and our mind will be attracted to this. There will be a kind of attachment, will be pushed toward this, and thinking of taking life.
네 상랑코야 드니 디 센체 세비가 데코론 데라 차바시 차바 데 세파레스 디 차바시 디 세파들레 온데깔라 당하마 센체 세비가 레치사서 딜리데 휴첸보 동기 휴체르 동기르스 디 휴체르 차원데 디 시파스 라기레스 시파
donc
Imagine that previously, during our lifetime, we took the life of beings, and at the moment of death, we think of this again. Our mind is attracted to this. There is a kind of attachment. The mind is pushed toward this thought of killing, of taking life comes up, and this is what we call craving. Then, given that our mind is attracted and attached to this thought, thinks of this, then this leads to the link of becoming.
리디가 데라 차바시 차바 휴첸보시 온데 리드 느바 첸보쳐 디 리드 느바 첸보쳐 온데 디스파 차그레 디스파 깨지 지마텔라 아니 시와 팽요르스가 베네 냐발이나 냐발 시요르 던로이나 던로시 예달이나 예달 시요르스 시와 라양르스 다 코로 치토바가스라 차카마가서 던디 차바 휴첸보시에서 시에니 던리 코론단 천더그라 천더드깔라 리데 또 첸보시서 차바시 리또 첸보차 대차자 코론 쳐서 단천이 깨지 지마 가발레그르스 티지마 가발레그르스나 tani nyawala shena nyawa yedala shena yeda tandro shena tandro sheo yuresko
You can see this way of unfolding, the functioning of it. Just before death, these actions will come back in a certain way, will be attracted to, there will be attachment toward these actions. Then this will nourish the link of craving. Based on the link of craving, the links of craving and grasping function together, because grasping is craving that has become very, very strong. So when craving becomes very strong, it turns into grasping. And based on this, then the link of becoming will unfold. Mind is attracted, there is attachment, these links unfold, then we take a new birth, which is the link of becoming, and then, we go towards a new birth, which is becoming, and when we take birth, this is the 11th link of birth. And this existence may be an existence among humans, the divine, animals, hungry spirits. It could occur in a great number of places.
Jambal Tombi, Jambala Chapika, Tin Lila Chapika, Chapa Chapawam, Tin Sepa the Lembani Suteni, Tin Lit Future Tony, Shewa Jima, Tin Mailite, Yomana Lailute Hamgers.
Et donc cela...
This functions both for negative actions and for positive actions. If we have a tendency toward virtue, then this habit is what will manifest. This habit toward generosity, rather, is what will manifest at the moment of death. It will be watered, nurtured by the links of craving and grasping, which will amplify this action. These actions will then project toward the following birth, which will lead us toward finding a new existence in the higher realms as a human, a god, etc.
Nyawan penjeli tena sana matoni. Me liten penjeli tena sana tonen dig dua tengi jres. Tet no ya so ron yanan dig was yapores. Ina yo shito she pikas la nisana nde ton nde maton se so ron ya samares. Pena gonda chen nyip nykunde pikas malanda marato shoke ni se onde mala tombo mala tingi tengi. Teni nimban de tengi so ron munde was. Mat ron ya mares. Say Malon best Tom Malon Tocha Kare and Shokan you say on the tuck the time you risk.
Thus, we may say to ourselves, in this life I have created the causes, I planted seeds for rebirth in the lower realms, but I also planted seeds for rebirth in the higher realms. We might think, okay, well, at the moment of death, I won't think about the actions that will bring me down, but rather only think of those that lead to the higher realms. It's a nice idea, but the reality is it doesn't work like this, because in truth, we don't have the freedom to think of what we want to, in the same way that when we wake up, we don't have the freedom to remember this dream or that dream. At the moment of death, we can't really choose what we think of. If we have enough training, then perhaps, and so much the better, but most of the time this is not the case.
Ngazo maripala tene lech sa late korangan the lake pacha te na hitil yagdwa te pacha de jisia kan nepa cher tonkente sepa the lembani chadi yores sepa lembani ka late lech pacha te future tonde tene late sipa sin la de yores
Donc il y a
There's a lot to say on this subject. There are many things to explain, but to sum all of this up, on the basis of ignorance, conditioning phenomena are carried out. We act, we carry out actions. These actions are stored as imprints in the consciousness. They are watered or nourished by craving and grasping, which leads to the result of the 10th link becoming.
대시 다 세파세야 돼 건다 세파세야 돼 차카마카스라 리텔라 차바티시로 차바 달 렘바세 아니다 텐데 연아 진이 농센 집이 렘바세야 돼 차바티 휴처는 로비캅스 렘바세라기레스.
le huitième lien, le lien.
The 8th link, the link of craving, is attachment. Attachment that occurs, and when this attachment becomes greater and greater, then it becomes the following link, grasping.
드니 다다잉라임바 ndje kli sediyate pena hinkanona same dombote pika chad manche pika same nongire deres chad manche pika hinkanona same te ndiusie chuchu chwaye marako chwaye mara ta tene sipa semte lit leonde li sipa semte leonde ten o sipa semte o sipa chadi tene lite 다 ndiusie chochu chagyores koronkechi pena hinkanona samente chen chedo le chedo da keji jimala ndiusie chochu chagdewas sipa no ndje khle ton sipa nimbo chepa tndi hyegyores chepa tenda da tino ya sipa ton lemba sinda de nimbo yo chapa hyuti ndindi yebikasa sepa chapa de hyucherle yebikasa lemba sela de gires.
Donc, comme nous l'avons expliqué, les conditionnants sont comme des graines.
As we explained, conditioning phenomena are like seeds that have not yet been watered. These seeds cannot ripen so long as they do not encounter favorable circumstances. When the link of becoming unfolds later on, then these seeds are ready to yield their fruit which is existence, birth in a new existence. At this moment, the seeds are ready to ripen. As was said, craving is attachment, and when this attachment becomes even stronger, it takes on ever greater strength and becomes grasping the 9th link.
pena chapate hyucherdo hyuchurun seate nimbota hyuchenshu kandri esara chichina sana khosogros hyucheshun seate.
Il est possible que vous vous demandiez.
Perhaps you may be wondering what makes attachment stronger, what decides whether it becomes stronger.
세노는 지여치라 차되나요? 차파 세노 용구여때 델라테니 차파 델라테니 소소 pena domba namjir tan thagmada dedi kasa chapan rindis chunjung rindis ta te future tang de kala pe domba nona te namjir tan da pena dombi nona ga chapa namjir tan thagra chabik chen shen pena ta dombo te chila tingi pech yo anan risar.
Donc
Depending on its strength, attachment will express in different ways. If it's not that strong, if it is lesser or middling, it won't lead to a facial expression. Whereas if it is very strong, there will be a physical expression of it.
대우히 나 베나 포모니 차죠. 포모 베나 버지 포모 차죠. 다 세노는 그님 펜스 차발레기라. 그님 펜스 차발레 이나요 베드 가서 파스 통양치도. 통양 마제프 가서 차반린리레스. 다때 휴처를 온데깔 차바 휴처를 온데깔 펜스 통리식도 왔어. 통리. 제자타 동보 펜스 차비가스 차바테 세파. 대 휴처는로는 베 통리식도. 대들 렘바. 다 된 베티고네 세네님보테 휴체신스미데 고아지네나 기타데기레스다.
Donc pour donner
To give an example that's easy to understand, this attachment will be more or less strong depending on, we can take an example, in a couple between a man and a woman, there's less attachment if there's greater physical distance. In this case, we find the link rather of craving if there is more physical distance. But then when they embrace each other, the attachment becomes stronger. And then this corresponds to the ninth link, grasping.
아니 세파더 렘바님테 차파 휴 쳔보 마차베가스 세파시 데 차파르테 휴체를 레어비가스 렘바스 라온데가스 휴체식 체르던 것도 지 문즈나 시그라 단계된데 페이지 써놓은 동나 데 페이지 레바노스 지 사우 차면 로스.
donc
It's an example that's relatively relatable. It's easy to understand. And the terms are tsepa and linpa, which refer to an attachment that is more or less strong. If you think of this example, then it will help you to be able to picture the difference between craving and grasping somewhat better.
파트소티 주제 마라 주요 마라 주요는 어떻게 라온데 지 체신도 지 나가 들으면 때야 레라보도 다 데메온데 페텐리 고네츠 걸레나 다디그레스.
oui et justement c'est
It's helpful to use examples because attachment has no form. It's not something we can look at and say, oh, that's attachment. It's helpful to take an example of something that's that speaks to us.
이때라 코 수때는 휴처르똥이 달리티가 그런 디지말라 리우시에 조주 차온디 리우디 시에 조주 차온데 되니 시파스 되는 증언듯이 그랬어. 된데 yana 진이 노는 시파스 된다. 네.
donc dans la
These imprints are found within consciousness, these conditioning phenomena. These imprints are watered by craving and grasping. When these imprints, actions, are ready to ripen, to yield their result or fruit, then the 10th link unfolds, becoming.
마리파톤, 다제톤, 나히톤, 세파, 렘바, 스파스는 야나 dwindosong. 오타 테 투포테 아니 공자지 시와 용스 조파 렘발라 제투포테 투레스. 공자지 시와 차츠만래야라 제투구레 디제투포테레스타.
donc nous avons
We spoke of 6 links in particular up till now: ignorance, conditioning phenomena, consciousness, craving, grasping, and becoming. These links the unfolding of these links constitutes one lifetime for an individual.
야나 투포테 아니 디우 투포 디우 서 동아 뎀바 스티케데 히
Et les 6 autres liens,
These 6 other links are the fruits or results of all this, the result of suffering or unhappiness.
Pena nga tso tsende la ti jatupo te la teni ta shewa jima ama nga de las ama nga de la ni nyansan jasin hakuk de shewa lemba ama nga de shewa lengra ti shewa lembi kechi te la teni minzu sila yures minzu chiri pitendes.
donc
These 6 links act as causal links and they yield for result these 6 other links. Due to these 6 causes, we will be reborn. When we enter the womb,
kechi tombo ni sheche tu matoj pata sekta sheche tendi ndo te matoj pata la music tendi music trip tendes.
oui, et donc
from the moment that we enter the womb up through the moment of leaving the womb, this is the link of name and form that unfolds.
So music tende seate music trip tende sedate amingal nyansan jani teni sheche tu mate seonde ta ngatsandi no la pena dantra da chena dantra choje tsamchi rin la re sen namje tende la yu resta ta dawan da china pachi dawa yo tsamchi rin do ngatsu minda chaga na pug ma she pad marda pug mai nga da nyansan ja she mai nga da dawa godogra golhach dogra mai nga tombo le ni dawa yotsam dantra choje chiring dawa tsina dawa ji rin la music tende sindla de gres.
et donc petite correction, c'est pas juste
Small correction. For 4 months, the link of name and form lasts from after the moment of conception up through 4 months, roughly 18 weeks of the time that the fetus is in the womb.
Pena dantra choje wa dawa ye rin la ani nga so mizu sedeyate tirina toya kare teogres na yala nga yo ngo komba lapa de komba ni lapa ni ngo tsondo to so ti ta chagires ti kasa ombo yo mares ombo nga wo tsong mares.
pourquoi? Parce que
Why? At this point, the fetus is in the womb, the baby is developing. Its arms, legs, and head will develop, but the sense faculties have not yet developed.
So chason te trawo is arrest. Chason tra. Ta tedu kala tende yana chini no ne sheche tende sem ngo zu yores.
donc
During the first 18 weeks or 4 months of development, the fetus in the mother's womb, rather the name and form, are the link that unfold for the fetus, and following this, then the 6 ayatanas will unfold So following this and based on this, next comes the link of the 6 ayatanas. At this moment, then, the sense faculties will unfold. Eye, ear, etc. We say that the link of the 6 ayatanas unfolds only once the 6 faculties are complete, have appeared or developed. If just one faculty has appeared, for example, only the visual faculty, then we don't say that the 5th link has unfolded. It is only once the 6 faculties are complete. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, tactile faculty, and mental faculty. Only once these 6 have unfolded do we say that this 5th link has unfolded.
ina ombo cha tsawante dawa choji jila pena dawa se dantra choji jiwa dawa ontsina dawa yek jin go tsudo mi kombo na yombo che yombo ta te ombo chasong tro onde seche ktendres seche tende ta kare chasong seche tendres ta seche tsani repas leida repas tende repas leido repas ya te kare lagirsena tene zu tene ombo tene teni na teni namshi legida namshi pena ngozo make chera make namshi da chaga na mi chen ge zu tene dao chen ombo ndo make ombo teni na teni make namshi sia da make namshi sia onde ne repas repitendi simta tikarango zu yores.
Puis ensuite,
then next, when all the faculties have unfolded, then we say that the 5th link has appeared, the link of the 6 ayatanas. Next comes the following link, the link of contact. What is the link of contact? So form, the faculties, and consciousness are present. Contact is the coming together of these 3, object, faculty, and consciousness. This allows for this link, the appearance of this link, contact. At the moment of name and form, we see that form is what deploys. During the 6 ayatanas, the sense faculties unfold, and based on this, then will unfold then will unfold at the moment of contact, then will unfold the various types of knowledge. When these various types of knowledge appear, this is the appearance of the sixth link, contact. Here, concerning the link of contact, we need to understand this as the contact from within the 5 omnipresent mental events. At this point, there is contact, but there are neither pleasant or unpleasant sensations.
Repak Thaye Jisa Tsoa Yodwala Pena Nubo Yodwa Chila and Tsoa Deva Leva. Yodmoala Tsoa Dunga Lea. Jetson Tsoa Deva to Dunga Tonya Sambo Katu Konzati Jela Lesona and Tsoi Tende Simkita Shigures. Tsoi Tende.
Donc grâce
Due to contact, then the sensations will be able to appear. Pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral sensations. Because contact is complete, then objects will be able to procure pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral sensation, which is the next link. There will be pleasant experiences, unpleasant experiences, and neutral experiences.
Music tenders is the Amak Ngad Dragono Leni Dawa Yatsanch Patala, music tenders. Hakosan. The Dawa Yat Samni Ombo Chasant Duango Zugre, Tuteni Zunte, Dawa Truzon. Dawa Truzon Padala, repic tenders hegres. Dragono the Pogo. Repic tende. Madame music tende. Dawa Yoni, that Dawa Trut Samchi Padala, repac tende. That Tikala Ombo Chason Tegeres, Ombo. Tipala, Ombo Yarangazo. Ombo Chason. Then Dawa drew one, Dawa dance on Chitani, and then Soa Legeresco. Pugdela. That Tikala and so it 10 days get a figures.
Donc, à partir
From the moment of entering the womb up through the 4th month, the link of name and form unfolds. Between the 4th and 6th months in the womb, the 6 ayatanas, the faculties, are unfolding, as well as the link of contact. Between the 6th and the 7th months, once the faculties are present and contact is also present, established, then sensations will be able to unfold between the 6 and 7 months of gestation.
Yetasochi regi eba hakogi sares. Ina tela tenin tsowa dewa to dongha yongu yesamares. Penanga tso Yachi tongde to bime jigdo. Bime hakosan. Mana men jigdo. Oh, ti menka je onde kala ngats pena soch pina ti menka je onde ngats konzo sobi onde chi regi eba hakogdo. Ina yo dewa dongha te chotok manda. Tenrich
Donc, en fait, jusqu'à temps que la...
Up until sensation appears, there's a sensation similar to anesthesia for the baby, similar to when a tooth is anesthetized. We can feel that the doctor's working on our teeth, but the sensation is not pleasant or unpleasant. We can feel something, but it's not associated with something pleasant or unpleasant. So up until this point, there is prior to this moment, there may be contact, so something may be felt, but it's neither pleasant or unpleasant. Starting from the 6th month, the fetus may experience pleasant and unpleasant sensation.
다 ngazo mambo lagi duas pena amanti ko ji kala satong konda ji thabo ro ndimndi kala dawa din dula dawa din chang kala satong ndimndi kala pug tragono ni gochu je yabate hakor za lagi dus ta ina ngi kana thong mani te ina te lagi dus ta ti kare hakogis na pug tela dani kala satong ndimndi ko na khon dana dewa to de ma de chi yong yores te yong de kala ni gochu je yores.
Oui, et Khenpo dit...
And Khenpo adds, I've met people who said that they witnessed that based on what the mom ate at 6 months, the baby would react differently within the belly. And up until that point, 6 months, the baby didn't react any particular way. But Khenpo says he didn't have this. He hasn't been witness to this himself, but he's heard this from other people who have seen it. Starting at 6 months, the baby will react in a different way depending on what the mom eats. There's a great deal to say about these links, about name and form, about the ayatanas, contact sensations. We don't have much time, so we won't go into more detail here.
Ta mizu tong ani sheche tong repa tong chowa dudu chunro songas ta ta dan ni ga de shevi tendes semti teres.
Donc nous avons parlé...
We spoke of the 4th link, name and form, the 5th link, the 6 ayatanas, the 6th link, contact, the 7th link, sensations. Now I would like to talk about the link of birth.
Oui, voilà, du 11e lien, du lien de naissance.
The 11th link, that of birth.
Donc le lien de naissance...
The link of birth begins from the moment when consciousness enters the womb. This is what we call birth in the context of the 12 links.
Ani shes amengala nyansa tambo jabi ka tosono tanda chipare se lade geresta chidon lanke tan ramra yorete tikala ngunzu shedan de geresta aw what ta amengala nyansa jaon de kala music tende se do ta tikasa shevi tende se lana gon de gers.
Oui, et donc
according to the texts, birth, in fact, name and form deploy, unfold at the same time as birth. So we can consider that these are birth as well.
Tani nga tsu shewa tongbo lengi do. Mai nga da tsu shewa tongbo lengi do. O ta ti kasla ani shewi tendre se nguzo na digi yorese. Rara zang chu na. Jutrupo yendo. Jutrupo te la teni tani ndiu mai nga la nyansan jawi keji tongbo chindewa. Mai nga tsu shewa tongbo chindewa. Ta ti kasla shewi tendre se ne kolena digi yorese. Zo te la kolena digi yorese.
Donc
These 6 causes, which we listed before, these 6 links we named, ignorance, conditioning phenomena, consciousness, craving, grasping, and becoming. These 6 links are causal links, and the result will be the 11th link, birth.
donc
Once again, I have a great deal to say, but given the amount of time we have, I'll leave it here.
Tani ga seate ani kechi hmaka njawa junro njaro do kechi njawa ndo do gas hyo seate ngozo sipa yake onde kala chasu se hakoson hyo seate hya tombo ngo tsuni ani le de senyi de kaka mandroch patela ani chawa sela de gires. Senyi kaka mandroch patal. Shawase. Kaka ndo na ikhazar. Sar. Ten pasal ndo sar. Jetson. Dry seate, hyo seate, tanda karasna chos. Wanchakang cho. Chos seate, hidukal tak shagmara. Ko sheya chungo chugra. Ngo tsuni nju mazuch patan tela shawase. Shawawan chawase. Nju zo tsade ni pasal ndo tsar, shatsane ko pasal ndo tsar.
Then comes the 12th and final link, aging and death. What is aging? Ga in Tibetan. This refers to change that occurs from moment to moment. And death is not the fact of being dead, it is the moment between the beginning of death and the moment when body and mind are truly separate. This doesn't occur in an instant. There is a period of time from the beginning of this process until the moment when the body and mind are truly separate.
Ta kechi tombo te njani tenin gochu yoresta. Te kechi tombo te mai nga nyansa jawe tombo te shewara. Teni next ko ngasa njwando sa. Teni gawa se ten gochu yores. Gawa sem tenim gochu yores. O kechi nimba ne ta gawa gochu yores. Shewa se aten cheya gochu ni ta lese nyembo kaka mandoch patel parotana ya yores.
Et donc, ici,
Here, the term aging refers to the second moment within the womb. The first moment in the womb is birth, in the context of the 12 links, and the second instant, starting from the moment when we've entered the womb, then, starting at the second moment, there is change that occurs. And then death refers to once the process of death has begun up until the mind and body have truly separated.
En fait,
In general, naturally, our body is composed of the four great elements.
et ces quatre grands éléments vont
And these four great elements will be reabsorbed upon death.
donc au moment de la mort, les éléments
During death, the elements will be reabsorbed. Earth element will be reabsorbed, and this manifests in terms of a change in the perception of colors.
donc il va y avoir ce
There is a change in terms of colors. This occurs when earth element is reabsorbed. Earth element is reabsorbed into water element. Water element will then be reabsorbed. At this point, we see the eyes sink into their sockets. This is reabsorption of water element. The body dries out.
ensuite
Then fire element is reabsorbed. The body loses its heat, becomes rigid and cold as a stone.
ensuite le vent
And then wind element is reabsorbed. At this point, one ceases to breathe.
et à ce moment-là
At this point, when this reabsorption has occurred or is occurring, each element into the next, the coarse 6 types of knowledge are also reabsorbed. I, consciousness, etc. are also reabsorbed in a coarse manner during this time.
ensuite
Then what remains is subtle consciousness. The coarse consciousnesses have been reabsorbed. What remains is subtle consciousness.
나신 타와 라기어레 데 나신 타와데 düğün tungun geçi maçere giresi. De tungun çire giresi. De tungun치. 다 이는 뭐 데세 튼튼치 고나시 타와서 파나 되기레스. 근데 데세 디 타와디 깨지 마치라드나 디 깨지 님발라 근데 시와랜드 그래서 바서 시와랜드 그래서.
Donc il y a
This process of reabsorption occurs, then subtle, very subtle consciousness remains, and this lasts for just one moment, and the following moment we leave for our next life. So there's very short time there.
세야친도 효원 쳐세야친도 데데 주와 사이컴 daya hungo tsuni nashin chawa kechi machindewa di patna la yada yoresita shawasya
et donc le lien
the link of death in the context of the 12 links Shiva designates this process of reabsorption of the elements, earth into water, etc., up through this final moment of subtle consciousness.
that tatuna ngazo hidikaran tama munal hawaya nashin chawa kechi machindewa that de ani bena songha nyamle yanke hyo yona that dik tine tene leka mombo shya yer zalagi dus ina yo tan ndo shu noni tikejat che mares.
Et donc ce dernier instant peut être extrêmement...
This final moment may be very beneficial and crucial when used by practitioners of Vajrayana. It is this moment for practitioners of the Vajrayana that is very useful and can be used for their practice. For those who practice the vehicle of the sutras, there's no particular practice associated with this moment.
Concept. Tangatun tendi yana chini noni yana tongbo maripa nimban daje tani samba nanghi ta teni de testa tetsa sa wona testa hyoto sonse ta yamba to so tenga du ma to ni tuset rama sonse tuset tenga ndong bodisi.
Donc
we took a bit more time during these 3 days to talk about the first 3 links, those of ignorance, conditioning, phenomena, and consciousness. Given that we didn't have much time, we spoke of the other links more briefly.
Jong, roba, pesata. Tani tatanga zo hego jiti yongja nyena jishina tetsa uchagres.
Cependant,
Nevertheless, if you come back to this teaching, if you go over the texts that explain dependent arising, also the audio from this teaching, you will be able to understand more and more.
Dange kond hyua no ye yana tuhi emba yana tupo te demba yanoni kunju demba yana de mizu ni te yana tuhi emba te yana tupo te donga demba ta te ngunzu shega demba yanoni donga demba ngunzu shega res.
et donc comme
as I said previously, the links of dependent arising can be categorized into 2 groups, the causal links and the resultant links, which correspond to the causal links correspond to the truth of the origin of suffering. And then the links from name and form correspond to the truth of suffering.
et donc
These 12 links talk primarily about what? What do they demonstrate? They demonstrate that the truth, they demonstrate the truth of suffering and the origin of suffering, what these truths are.
다 동아 덴바 히마 히 가르여 동아 몸부치 히들이나 몸부치 사나 동데나 아니 베 숨부 차우디 시부문디 트랜스 그러와스
Il est possible que
It's possible that we may wonder what the point of talking about suffering is, why it's useful to take time for this.
바레스 쇼지니 가르레스나 아니 동아데 몸부치 몸부치 사나 동선에나 아니 동아 ngoch treon디 칼라 아니 동아데 메바시야 마도 동아데 나구이디 땡케스지 요 마레스 다 동아데 메바 동구디 treon디 칼라 다 동아 메바 동야라 사나 동 간디스 동그레 사나 동데 저건주 덴바 뽕구이야 바테 라트 그러와 저건주 덴바 메바 동구이야 바 뽕구이야 바테 하코 대 하코스는 데 저건주 덴바테 뽕스네나 데 동아 베 자와체르 그러와
Et donc, effectivement,
That's a legitimate question. Taking time to reflect on how suffering unfolds allows us to generate the wish to liberate ourselves from suffering. Through reflection, we'll understand. This reflection will lead us to an understanding of the origin of suffering, and based on this understanding, we'll then be able to put into place what's necessary to free ourselves from the suffering.
당하 히에 온데 칼라 당하테 메바 동야 타히 가이 메나 당하 히에 데나 초문데스 나 초요 마레스 이나 ngazo 당하 몸부치 히에 비카슬라 당하테 메바 동야 타히 ngazo 요레스 제가 타히데 하고야 쳇 대한 고츠야 쳇데 당하 히에 요레스다
en vérité, le
This is useful because there are methods to free ourselves from suffering. If there were no methods, if there were no means to free ourselves, then there would be no point in talking about it. But given that there are methods, it's useful to reflect on suffering, to reflect on its origin, in order to then be able to apply what's necessary to become free from it.
tane ta chezo tering ngazo tende yana chini ko ra chi ra pa chi res ten ti ko te sana tong tane dongha te ngunzo shi dongha koni wons de so tap chi chi tane dongha te so jet so ngusan te jet so me pa tong ya ta hi kare de ta onde tane launch demba sem te ngo chu res ter tonon le res te tonon le onde ka lojong shi na ngo chu ni nyana shi na tane kunju demba me ba tong dongha nga de res 제천 당하 야봉고 추운데가 당하 고는 준스도 있다는데 근준은 용바 하고 그러 다 근준데 용바 하고 근데 근준데 매바 동거데 간지 동거스도 있어나 동원데 아니 람지 덴방고 추레스 칼레칼레 근데 람지 덴바텔라 가서 근준 매바 동지 제때 람지 덴바 임바 하고 근데 데 람지 덴바텔라 로종시 데 람지 덴바텔라 고 야포 추운데 람냐래 야포시니 근준 매바 동 당한 가드 그랬어
donc
We've briefly explained these 12 links of dependent arising. I invite you to reflect on this further, to study them again, in order to, little by little, recognize suffering, which will lead you to recognizing and understanding the causes of suffering. The truth of suffering leads to understanding the truth of the origin of suffering, and then seeking to eliminate the origin of suffering, we will go towards the truth of the path. Practicing the truth of the path, little by little, Our study and practice will lead us toward the truth of cessation.
damjena yabunya then maripa she deje she namhi she sepa lemba sapa o di tupote jukunju demba tene mizu she repa choa shewa gawa di tupote ndiu dongha demba otati demba nimbote mus tatende yana chino heres di hul kare here se onde launch demba gopi demba ni te hul here ndona mus gopi demba ni te hul here bares hul is na kosa mus dongha demba to kunju demba ni te di jalul kare here de gersena launch demba to gopi demba ni here ndo duna here kare resena demba gi boter here de gers.
And thus, the links of ignorance, conditioning phenomena, consciousness, craving, and grasping, as well as becoming, are none other than the truth of suffering. The other links, name and form, that makes sense. So the first list is what are the origin of suffering, and the remaining links are the truth of suffering itself. We can see that these 12 links consist in the truth of origin and the truth of suffering. And underlying all of this, we can find the truth of the path and the truth of cessation. In this way, the explanation, the teaching on the 12 links is none other than an explanation on the 4 truths of the Noble Ones. We'll conclude here. I apologize for going over the time. Thank you for your patience. We'll conclude our brief explanation here today.
Sanandi Tanji Zibani Tonani Drana Baja Shiga Nanji Balon Trubaya Sabi Tole Doa Doa Shu.
Alors, juste une petite annonce qui n'a pas pu être faite au début de l'enseignement. Short
We will have a group photo all together in front of the institute to send it to Rinpoche. Show what happens here. As well expression of gratitude and wishes for everyone as well. Donc on va faire une photo de groupe devant l'institut. Donc merci de tous se retrouver devant l'institut. Cette photo, donc, on va la partager avec Jigme Rinpoche. Et en fait, pour exprimer des bons souhaits pour sa longue vie, pour la nouvelle année, et pour avoir un petit feedback de la retraite.